Hey everyone, what is going on? So we have more battles that I did on Twitch, taking a look at a really powerful team, Glowing Stunfisk, Sableye, and Shadow Venusaur. Now this is probably the last time I'm going to feature this team this season. You know, I'll probably do it again next season, but it's just such a powerful team that I wanted to bring it to you again. And I did really well with it. Whenever I use this team, I always do well with it. So looking at this matchup, of course, we had the Trevenant, right? So we swapped into Sableye. They bring in Drapion. When that happens, a lot of times it means that they could either have, well, Caleb Peng's team, which is Trevenant, Drapion, and Bastion, which is usually the case. Or you could have King's Legend team, which I believe he hit Legend with last season, which is Trevenant, and then the Double Dark Poison, Pokemon, Drapion, and Skuntank. In this case, it is Caleb Peng's team. But either way, we do take that matchup with Sableye. They're going to bring in the Trevenant, and we're actually able to get to another foul play. This is either going to KO or get a shield, and they're likely going to shield, so they do shield. Very nice. So we do get the final shield from the opponent. We're going to be able to bring in the Venusaur. And they're going to be able to go for an attack. I do shield this one up because the Shadow Ball just absolutely KO the Shadow Venusaur, right? So we do shield that. And they do actually make a good catch onto the Bastion. So huge props to my opponent for that. So what I'm going to do is I charge up for another attack so I have it ready for the Trevenant just in case. And then I switch into my Galarian Stunfisk. We can take a Flamethrower, right? Now keep in mind, I am counting during the battle, so I know where they are in terms of energy. They're going to be able to throw a flamethrower at me, but that is totally fine because we could take that. And we're going to continue to overfarm, throw just before they get to another attack, and this is obviously going to KO the Bastion, right? So Bastion is deleted, and in comes Trevenant. We're able to get off this Rock Slide. They have to throw an attack to KO my Stunfisk, of course, and they need to charge up extra energy in order to do so. They're just not able to do it, and we're going to be able to take that game, and that is going to be a great game, very well played to my opponent there, and we're going to be able to beat that one. But let's go ahead and move into the next battle. We do have the Galarian Stunfisk into the Empoleon. So when I saw this, I was thinking, maybe it's the Double Charm team that Zionic featured, and lo and behold, the Wigglytuff comes in. So it is that Double Charm team. Now you could bring in either a Charm user. I do agree with bringing the Wigglytuff in like my opponent did, because if they put in the Ninetales, maybe they would have to shield the return because it would do so much damage. Now I make a mistake here, and I actually bring in the Venusaur. I should have brought in the Galarian Stunfisk and farmed down instead of the Venusaur, because if I farmed down with the Galarian Stunfisk, well, one, we could take the Ice Beam, or the Play Rough, whatever they threw, and two, we wouldn't have to shield it, and then we'd be able to threaten the Empoleon, maybe bait it, or maybe go for the Earthquake. But they actually, we do get energy, which is nice, but they bring in the Alola Ninetales as expected. It is that Double Charm team Zionic featured. We're going to go ahead and go for this Frenzy Plant, expecting the shield, and they do not shield, but we're able to farm down. And they do have two shields. We're going to be able to get both of them with these Frenzy Plants. We throw one Frenzy Plant right now. So this Frenzy Plant is coming out, and they have to shield. We go for another one, and after this Frenzy Plant, we're going to go ahead and have to switch out, right, into Galarian Stunfisk. So we bring in the Galarian Stunfisk. All we need is the Earthquake. We're trying to get to the Earthquake so bad. We do get to it. They throw an attack, but if they have two, they're going to be able to take out my Galarian Stunfisk. We click on the Earthquake, they do have two, they're going to be able to get off the Stunfisk, or get off the Hydro Cannon to KO the Stunfisk, and then they could farm down my Venusaur. So again, I think we could have won this if we put in the Stunfisk against the Wigglytuff. We would have still had the Venusaur, but lesson learned, right? But let's go ahead and move into the next one. We have another Trevenant lead, so we're going to go ahead and go into the Sableye, and a Drapion comes in. So again, I'm thinking Caleb Peng's team, right? We'll see. They're going to be able to throw an attack at us. We're definitely going to be able to take the first one. You don't want to shield the first one because the debuff, they could get the debuff, right? And the next one would do more. So we're going to go ahead and go for the foul play. We're going to go ahead and go for the bait, hoping to pick up a shield. Let's see if my opponent decides to shield it. They do decide to shield it, so that's good for us. They throw an attack. This one we have to shield unless we want to get KO'd. So we're going to go ahead and shield it. And they do have Aqua Tail. So I actually throw the foul play here, and they actually don't shield, which is not great, right? I was expecting the double shield, but they actually call it. So huge call by my opponent, very well played to them. The return would have KO'd, and that would have been good for us. So now I'm going to go ahead and shield that, and we're going to go ahead and farm up, go in for the foul play. They could shield this and take switch if they choose to. Let's see what they decide to do. They do actually do that. So they are going to go ahead and take switch. So not great, but we're going to be able to get some farm. So I think I do decide to bring in the Venusaur to get ahead on energy. So we do get ahead on energy with the Venusaur and its Bastion, so it is Caleb Peng's team. So I am charging up. We're going to be able to throw the Frenzy Plant into the Bastion. I think I switch out after this. Or do I try to catch? Or oh no, they throw an attack. Yeah, I was going to try and catch, but I was too slow. I wasn't able to. So they're going to be able to KO me. So looking pretty rough, right? Looking pretty rough. They bring in the Trevenant right now. But we're still going to stick it out. We're going to be able to go for this Rock Slide right now. This Rock Slide is not going to KO, but another one will KO. Maybe after the Mud Shots, they're going to be able to get off the Shadow Ball. But the Shadow Ball, of course, is not going to KO me, right? So we're going to be able to get off this Rock Slide. But is it enough to KO? We need it to be enough. Let's see. Come on, it is enough to KO because we got Shadow Claws in from the Sableye when we safe swapped into the Sableye. We're going to be able to make this Earthquake and KO that Bastiodon. And we're actually going to be able to take this game. So that's going to be a great game. Very well played to my opponent. So, yeah, I mean, would have been a little bit easier for us if we do the return at the Trevenant, but that is okay. We're still going to be able to win that one. Good game. Moving on, Glowing Stunfisk into Altaria. You absolutely love to see it. This is a great matchup, right? They switch into Diggersby, so I bring in Venusaur right now. Now, you do survive a Fire Punch, right? So, usually the way I play this one, I go for my Frenzy Plant. They're definitely going to shield because this is a Shadow Venusaur. And they go for an attack, and I call the first one. If it's an Earthquake, that's really bad, but usually it's a Fire Punch because Fire Punch is super effective, and they're maybe trying to bait. So now we could shield, and now we could win this matchup. So we're gonna, but you have to be switched when you fast when you switch into the Shadow Venusaur, right? When you see the Diggersby, you gotta go. Diggersby is tough for this team. I'm not gonna lie. So they get off another one, but I could shield this and win the race to the next Frenzy Plant. And we're both gonna get there at the same time, but I'm gonna be able to win CMP against Diggersby because Diggersby is a slow Pokemon, or not a slow Pokemon, but has a low attack. And we're going to be able to KO that. So we do take switch there. You'll have to see it now. Altaria comes in. They get a little bit of farm, but Galarian Stunfisk doesn't care about it. They bring in Lanturn, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and throw the Earthquake and then switch into my Sableye. Obviously, Venusaur against Lanturn would have been amazing as well. But we're going to be able to throw this Earthquake and now switch in. And they actually don't even get off an attack. I expected to surf or something, but they forfeit that. And that's going to be a great game. Very well played to my opponent. We're able to take that one. Let's go ahead and move into the next battle. Galarian Stunfisk into Skarmory. Another matchup you absolutely love to see. The problem is they switch into Sableye. And the reason... So Sableye safe swaps are tough. Because if you go into Venusaur, you're going to be at behind energy. So you're actually going to lose that matchup. And the same with the Sableye, right? So you kind of have to stay in. But at the same time, you also don't want to stay in when you have a great matchup. Obviously, you want the Stunfisk on that Skarmory. But you have no choice. You have to stay in. Now, we did bait them, which is good. They're going to be able to get off another one, and we're going to be able to throw this Earthquake. So they do get off one, and we do throw the Earthquake. So the Earthquake is coming out. They do let it go, and now I switch into my Sableye, and we do farm down. But again, Venus, if they don't bring in Skarmory now, it's going to be tough because Venusaur's not going to want to see Skarmory, but they actually do bring it in, which is good. And I'm expecting a Venus Swampert in the back because that's a common team. So it's good for us that they bring in the Skarmory, right? We do go ahead and go for another one. But again, it's tough. The Sableye safe swap is definitely tough for this team. I mean, if you don't have if they switch out and your lead is not a dominating matchup, like you know what I'm saying, then you know you can stay in with the Stunfisk and it's not that bad. But if it's a dominant matchup, for example, Stunfisk into the Skarmory or into Altaria, you do want to switch out. But you really can't. I mean, you could bait and then switch out, I guess. That's probably the way to go, and I think I do that later on. That's probably the way to do it. You probably want to charge up for the Earthquake, bait the Rock Slide, and then switch out so you're ahead on shields. That's probably the way to do it. But either way, kind of got a little bit lucky that they did not bring that Swampert into the Sableye, right? But GG. So probably could have played that a little bit differently, but it ended up working out in the end, right? So good game to my opponent. Let's go ahead and move into the next battle. We'll see how this game goes. We have Galarian Stunfisk into Trevenant. So Trevenant, another matchup. I always go straight into my Sableye here. They are staying in. So we're just going to go ahead and throw the Foul Play. They are staying in. They must be weak to Sableye in the back if they're staying in. So we're going to throw the Foul Play. They do go ahead and shield it. I mean, that is to be expected. Otherwise, it would KO. But they do throw an attack. I knew it was going to be a Seed Bomb, but I still shield it. It's always a Seed Bomb, for the record. Whenever you have a shield, it's always a Seed Bomb. They actually switch, trying to catch, I guess, but we're going to have to throw the Foul Plays anyway into the Galarian Stunfisk. So we're going to go ahead and throw one into that Stunfisk, and we're going to be able to get off another one. Looked like it was a CMP tie, which is nice, which tells me that that's a Rock Slide because they don't have enough for an Earthquake. But I guess Rock Slide would get me low. So we're just going to let this go, no reason to shield it. They are low with the Stunfisk, which is good for us. It is a Rock Slide. We're going to switch out into our Stunfisk. I would love to farm this down, and I'm going to be able to, but they do barely get to an attack, so I'm going to go ahead and shield. I could have thrown a Rock Slide to prevent them to getting to that Earthquake, so I wouldn't have to shield, but we'll take that energy, and Swampert is coming in. Obviously, Venusaur looking pretty good. But we're going to go for this Earthquake. Does a massive amount of damage. They do go ahead and shield it. We're trying to get to one more. They do throw in CMP, so very nice counting by my opponent there, right? But it's an Earthquake. Now, a Hydro Cannon, I guess they were not sure it would KO me. And to be honest, I'm not sure it would either. That's why they went for the Earthquake, but which is good for us. So we bring in the Venusaur. And this is, I think this is just a Hydro Cannon, right? We survived this. It is just a Hydro Cannon. I was going to try and catch the Earth. So see what I did there? I immediately went into my Sableye because I knew they were going to switch out into their Trevenant to throw the attack and try to KO my Venusaur. So I couldn't allow that to happen. So I immediately went into my Sableye to catch the Trevenant's move because I knew that combo play was going to happen. Anyway, that is a great game to my opponent. We're going to be able to take that one, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. Bye.